Welcome everybody to a new YouTube channel and podcast called On Your Marks. It's all about middle and long distance running, and it will be a whole range of interviews concerning 16 to 21-year-old Australians and New Zealanders. I'm really looking forward to hosting this YouTube channel and podcast, and I've been wanting to do something like this for quite a long time. We do have a couple of very exciting guests tonight for our very first episode, episode 1. The episode will all be about development, not hype, no shortcuts, but doing the hard work over time. I'm joined by Oliver Ham, a 20-year-old distance runner from the Central Coast in New South Wales, who's just earned a full scholarship to Loyola College in the US. He's raced 800 metres to 5,000 metres on the track. I'm also joined by his coach, Paul Arthur, who is a legend in Australian distance running. Welcome, boys. How are you both going?
Evening, Sean. Thank you for having us on your first podcast. This will be interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome, and to be honest, I feel very honoured that you both decided to come on, gentlemen of your calibre. So I'm thrilled to have you on. Now, Ollie has had an amazing last 12 months, a really strong last 3 years in his running career. His PBs are 157 for 800 metres, but as they get longer, he gets better. So 1,500 metres has run a 346 very recently, only a week or two ago actually. 3,000 metres in 807, and that was backed up by an 808 very recently as well. A 5,000 metres in 1425. Not too long ago, in very late 2025, Ollie got a bronze medal in the Open Men's New South Wales 3,000 metre Championships. And also, right at the end of the year, in December, at the World Cross Country Trials for the Australian team, Ollie was still there at the 7K mark in the hotly contested 10K Open Men's race. He was still there at the 7K mark, running shoulder to shoulder with legends like Seth O'Donnell and Morgan McDonald, and even the great Cam Myers. So Ollie's really burst onto the senior ranks in the Australian distance running scene in recent years. I'm also joined, as you saw before, by Paul Arthur, one of Australia's top distance runners in the 1990s. He's won medals in national cross country, Australian 10,000 metre championships, ran really well at Zatopek on many occasions, has won major road races, represented Australia at the World Cross Country and Ekiden Relays, and was actually ranked 70th in the world in the half marathon in 1992. He's now a leading coach. His squad's name is Squad Central. They're based in Gosford. They do a lot of training all around the hills and the small mountains and the race tracks and running athletic tracks of the Central Coast. We're going to talk about training, mistakes, patience, and what it actually matters if you are a young athlete trying to make it. Now, Ollie, before we start, a very quick test for you. Who won the 1994 City to Surf?
I think her name was Heather Turlin, was it?
That's the winner.
You're right there. Heather did actually win the 1994 City to Surf, as did the gentleman on your left, Paul Arthur.
He does his research, doesn't he, Sean?
You are very smart, knowing that Heather won the 1994 City to Surf as well. We don't hear about that as much as we hear about Paul winning these days. Now, Ollie, where did your running journey begin? Take us back to when you were much younger, and where did that journey begin?
Yeah, so I kind of started, Mum got me and my brother, because we were always into football, got us into park runs when we were probably about 8 or 9 years old. He was 2 years older than me, and I always wanted to beat him, but at the same time, I loved to do my running and always did it, but I didn't take it as serious as my football at that age until I probably hit about 18, and I decided to actually quit my high level of football to pursue my running career and see where I could get.
Okay, what kind of football are we talking about?
Like soccer, football. I was playing NPL 1 in Sydney and Newcastle, so I was travelling all around. So I didn't have much time to do training for my running, but always loved it.
Very good. I know the great Usain Bolt played up your way, played for Gosford. Is that not? Is that correct there for a season? Maybe about 7 years ago. Were you in your footballing prime then, or were you too young to play against Usain?
Yeah, no, I wasn't in my prime then. I was probably a bit too young. But yeah, he played for the Central Coast Mariners for a year, a little bit over. So it was good to see him, I guess.
You went to watch him play, did you?
Yeah, I got to watch one game. I didn't really. He wasn't that great at football. I'd say stick to the track if I was him. But
Fair enough. Oh, very good. Um, Now, Ollie, when did you join Paul's squad? You mentioned, obviously getting involved in sport from as young as 8, but when did you join Squad Central?
I joined Squad Central midway through 2023. I've been with Paul under Paul's coaching for about just over 2.5 years. I would say close to 3 years.
That's an interesting question, Sean, because the first time I met Ollie was at the World Cross Country at Bathurst. As you know, it was a stinking hot day, and Ollie had just ran in the junior race to try and get the gold ticket. And he was sitting under a gum tree with his parents. He had his head between his legs. It looked like the end of the world for him. And that's when I approached him and said, good run. Because I thought he ran well, just the way he raced it. So that's where we first met.
Great story, and you're right, Paul. I remember it being a really hot 3 or 4 days over the duration of the championship there in Bathurst, and then finding that the big storm hit right during the back end of the Open Men's 10K. But what a nice way for you guys to meet at such a huge event like that under a gum tree. There you go. Ollie, what was it like in the first half a year to a year? So 2023, let's say, when you joined halfway through the year until the end of 23, what was it like being in Paul's squad and under his tutelage in the early months?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a change to things. Training programs, distances, the whole just type. It was a lot more of a serious environment, but it's still a fun environment, but a lot more seriousness in the fact that you wanting to achieve something with your running. I obviously wasn't the quickest guy in the squad. There was an older guy named James Starkey, and I always wanted to beat him, and he was probably the guy that I was chasing the most. But I still was doing my football at that point in time, so I wasn't fully um, committed to my running at that point in time.
Okay, and Paul, what was it like coaching Ollie in those early months there in that first half year or so?
Well, the reason that I noticed Ollie early on was the way he raced, Sean. He always put himself in a great position in races, and he would try and win the race. He wouldn't run stupid and out of control, but I noticed, he put himself in a great position, and it was just a lack of groundwork that was the reason why he was dropping off. And Ollie trains hard, and one of the biggest things and the main thing I kept telling him, you don't have to win every session that we do. You don't have to do it flat out, but that's his strength. Ollie just knows how to train hard, and he doesn't make excuses. He just gets into it.
Now, on that training that Paul's mentioned there, Ollie, explain your current training with the squad. Run us through a typical week, because I know Paul, he likes consistency, and you can pinpoint a fairly typical week with the Paul Arthur training. Run us through a typical Paul Arthur Squad Central training week.
Well, for me, mine's probably a bit more developed than most of the boys because I probably do a little bit more Ks than them. But a typical week for me would be Monday, 15K an hour run, probably over a little bit of hills, nothing too excruciating. Tuesday would be I'll do a 3 mile 5K in the morning, just a little shakeout run, and then I'd come to the training in the afternoon Tuesday session, which would be at the track, on the grass, or at the race course, some sort of fartlek-y repetition session. Then we move on to Wednesday. I'd then do another kind of hour and 10 run, about 15, 16 kilometers again. Then I'd probably go and do some of my beam works and gym works after that, plyometrics after that run when I get home. Then I'd move into Thursday. I'd do another run in the morning, about a 5 kilometer, 3 miler. Then I'd come to your afternoon session with the squad, which would be a threshold, which could be at a grass venue somewhere or could be on the road somewhere. Then I move into your Friday. Friday's normally about 12 to 14K, depending on how recovery run, how well I want to recover. And then moving into it's a Saturday morning session, after that, which would be with the whole squad, normally on the roads, doing some sort of either time trial. Track season will be at the track doing a ton, or even just back at Adcock doing repetitions. Then going into your Sunday, sometimes might do a squad long run if some of the boys are up to running together. Otherwise, I'd probably be up in the hills, 30K long run, 2 hours, whatever comes first, I guess.
Where do you typically do your long run?
Well, I used to do it out at River State Forest every single other week, but recently I've been doing about just anywhere because I'm about to go to college, so kind of getting different venues with different types of people, just getting out there.
Fair enough. You're liking to mix it around a bit further. And tell us a little bit about who your other training partners are in Squad Central at the moment, early 2026.
We've got one guy who's hot on my heels. He's going to be pretty good talent if he stays with it to open rankings. It's Harry McCluskey. He's very talented. Never leaves me alone. Always jumps on me for the reps. So it's a good training partner to have and push each other. But yeah, got a fair way to go for him. Then we've got some other guys that jump in and out of sessions. A couple other 800 boys, a couple other strong boys. Sure, he's about a 15-20 guy, and his younger brother as well, just coming back from injury. They're very good to have as well, just to keep you honest in your sessions.
It's a very balanced squad, Sean. Ollie and Harry do stand out at the moment, but the squad are improving every month, and they all want to be at national level runners. So, and they're all willing to do the work, and the improvements there. Our training methods, it's nothing spectacular. It's pretty basic. Arthur Lydiard, Chris Wardwell, Patrick Hesse stuff with my own little mix in it. You know, we try and do a fartlek session once a week on the race course, and not fartlek. Hill sessions Saturday morning, and we hit the track on Tuesday. We very rarely go on the tartan track, Sean. Very rarely.
So your key teachings, Paul, are really along the traditional Australian distance running lines that Australians have been following for the last 40 years or so?
Absolutely, it works.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not into double threshold. I think there's too much of a risk there for young kids to do double threshold. I don't know how that got into our system, but, you know, it worked for me. It worked for Steve Monaghetti. It worked for Robert De Castella. It worked for Craig Mottram, Stuart McSwain. The person that I get a lot of my ideas from is Mike Smith from America. I noticed Mike's not scared to change the training program on the spur of the moment. I'm a bit like that as well.
Mike had a great career coaching at NAU in the collegiate system there.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it was Nike.
Yes,
Yeah.
and now he has that pro team there. I think they're called Arizona Elite or something along those lines. So, yeah, a great coach there, Mike Smith. But you mentioned a lot of other great Australians and great Australian coaches, and you're following in their legacy, Paul, and you're doing a wonderful job there. Now, Paul, you believe in hills a lot too, don't you? You love a rimba. I know you love a rimba, and you love doing quality hill workouts as well. What do you believe, or how do you believe that hills help a runner?
Look, at a younger age, when I was in my early 20s, I moved to Ballarat to train with Steve Monaghetti and Jerry Surridge in Ballarat. And one thing Mon has taught me was a hill session once a week was very important. Builds strength, and it helps with your speed. You can have all the speed in the world. If you haven't got the strength to be there at the end of the race, it doesn't matter how fast you are. A River State Forest, you can get up there and run 35K with constant hills. You don't have to attack the hills, but every so often we like to get our long run done and pick a point where we're going to attack it. So yeah, hills are very important in my program, the boys and girls.
Wonderful. Now back to Ollie again. You've progressed really nicely over the last few years, as we mentioned, particularly in that 2.5 years you've been with Paul. But the last 12 months, they've been a breakthrough period for you. Amazing 12 months there. What do you feel have been your 3 best races in this period, and why do you think they have been your best?
I'd have to probably some of my most recent races. I'd have to say, to start it off, I would say an 800 meter, which was at a low key meet out in Mingara on the Central Coast, and it was a nothing meet, but we had all the boys line up, and I went through the first 400. I just thought, why not have a crack? I went through the first 400 in about a 51 high, 52 low. So, I mean, that probably shocked me. And I still got around to the 600 mark in probably 123. Wheels fell off a little bit. And then the last 100 was the worst lactic I've ever felt. Never felt that ever before. And I ended up somehow getting home with Harry coming past me. But that first 400 meters probably got into my system knowing that I do have speed.
That's great.
And that I was able, when I'm there in races, I was able to use it. And that it kind of shocked me and was like, I am fit right now. Moving on from the 800, a week later, I had the New South Wales 3K Champs, which would probably be my second race, I would say. And I ended up coming third in that with kicking it home. Josh Phillips just got away in one other guy, but kicking it home down the last K with a tactical race. Definitely in an 8:07 made me confident in myself, knowing that I'd arrived on the scene and I was running pretty well, better than most people.
And you're well crossed.
And then, finally, the last race would be World Cross. I just felt so fluent in that race. I lined up with no expectations, coming into it having 25 guys that should beat me, even on a good day. So I was just lining up to race on, get some scalps. Still being there at 7K with the pack's down to 9 people, as you say, with Cam Myers, Seth O'Donnell and Morgan McDonald in the field. I looked around and I was like, maybe I can make this team. And that was the thought in my head at 5K, but the other guys obviously thinking otherwise.
Another race, just quickly, that a lot of people might have noticed or didn't take much notice, was his first junior Zadapet. After 3 laps, Ollie threw in a 57th lap and broke the field up. And a lot of people criticised him for it, but it showed, how courageous he is. He just wasn't strong enough then. But to throw in a 57, that showed to me this kid's got it. And, I have no. Ollie will, when he gets to America, his first couple of 5K races, he'll be down in 13:30s, 13:40, without a doubt.
That's very good. Yeah, I mean we're talking 2 years ago now, aren't we? That first juniors at a peck race, and I do remember that race very, very fondly because there were some great junior runners there. That's the race that Peyton Craig ended up winning. Is that correct?
That's the first one, my second one.
Yeah, that was the first one. It was his second one, where he threw in 57. Yeah, under 20s. I knew he was in good shape, but I wasn't expecting that.
No. Well, what a great run. And look, I have to admit that opened my eyes as well. And I thought, this kid, he has what it takes. He just has to be patient and do the work, put in the months and put in the years, and he'll go places. So, that's wonderful. In training, Paul, where do you find Ollie can pull out what you'd regard as the strongest sessions? I know that one single session or one type of workout won't make the runner on its own, but if he does excel in any particular type of training or any particular type of running, what do you think his major strength is based on his training?
Well, there's 2 sessions that I get a guide of how Ollie's going. One is Monofartlic on the race course. It was only a couple of weeks ago that only a couple of weeks ago he broke my record on Gosford race course. Now, I had that record. I was in 28:30 shape on the track. So he smashed that. And his hill session.
Doing the traditional loop around Adcock that you used to do back in the 1990s on the Monofartlic?
No, we don't do it there anymore because it puts cement footpaths in and we don't run on cement. But getting back to your question, another good indication is his hill sessions. He doesn't die in his hills. He gets stronger as the more reps increase.
Excellent. Wow, there you go. So you've certainly got great training grounds there, Paul, and you have had them there, Ollie. What a beautiful place to train. And I know as an old coach now and someone who's been around running a long time, that distance runners do really appreciate the open air and running in nature. You don't have to worry about being in the big smoke there in the Central Coast. You're not dealing with 5 million people like people do in Sydney and Melbourne. The Central Coast has probably got a population of 200,000 people or so. They're more spread out. There's way more bushland there, plenty of hills, and a lot of access to beautiful grassy either running tracks and of course the Gosford racetrack as well. I remember back in the day trying to get on to do, I'm not talking about Monofartlic, trying to get onto Rose Hill Racecourse in Sydney where they have the golden slipper with big Brendan Hints whose son Lukins is going really well now, by the way, running around 29 dead for 10k and running really well. And I tried to get on with Big Brennan, and we did get on, and we got to the 10-minute mark, or a bit over one lap, and then we were halted in our tracks by a security guard, and then marched up to the manager's office and lectured on why we weren't allowed to run on a horse track. Because if they let us on, we were told, then we could let at the time, the Apia soccer team on, we could let the Parramatta Eels rugby league team on, and we could let every Tom, Dick and Harry on. So why should we let you boys on? But you guys, now it's like nearly 40 years later, and you're still able to train on a horse track. So what a absolute privilege it is for you guys to be able to do that. Now, Ollie, very exciting news for you recently, and it had been announced, I think, on your social media and on the Squad Central social media and all around the world, and on the university's social media too, that you recently signed with Loyola College on a full ride scholarship. They are a top Div 1 school. I do know, I've been following them a fair bit, and I do know, I think they were ranked 32 or 33 in the nation in cross country just in that last fall season. They only narrowly missed out on making it to nationals. And when you bear in mind there are about 320, 330 Division 1 schools out there, and they are in the top 30 or so in the nation, you have been accepted by one of the top 10% schools going around in long distance running there, in cross country running, and they obviously that'll pay off for them when it comes to indoor and outdoor track as well. So congratulations on being accepted there into Loyola. Now, who's the head coach there at the moment at Loyola?
The head coach is Gavin Kennedy. So he used to coach at Wisconsin, and he has a pretty good. Yeah, he has a pretty good reputation.
So the assistant coach to Mick Byrne back in the Wisconsin days, and Mick's still the head coach was back when Morgan and Ollie were at Wisconsin. So Gavin moved over to Loyola. Very good. Well, you'll be in great hands with Gavin. Yeah. Very exciting for you to train under a very experienced coach there. So obviously ranked nationally really high there. Who are their current top runners on the roster? Have you looked into the roster? Have you spoken to any of the boys or the girls yet, particularly the boys who will be the male team there?
Yeah, I've only spoken to a few of them, but mainly the Aussie guys, like Jason Clayton. He's one of their top guys in their roster at the moment. I believe he's like a 13-26 guy.
Yeah, the old Melbourne boy who trained with Tim O'Shaughnessy back in the Melbourne days. Yeah. Jason's had a good collegiate career. I've been following him a fair bit. Yeah, he's got down to about 13:30, I think, for 5k. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he's about to graduate in May, I believe. So he'll be heading off, I guess, ending his collegiate career. Another guy that's an Australian over there right now is Isaac Biblial. He's going pretty well. Get to the next level pretty soon. I've heard his training's been going pretty well. There's a couple other guys, but I believe the other top guy would be James Lawrence. He's another 13:30 guy. They're going pretty well at the moment, but keen to get over there and train with them, I guess.
And Ollie's pretty excited. He really wants to meet Nico Young.
Sure, yeah, you'll have to take on Nico Young at the senior level there. Look, I do remember Isaac Babili, another Melbourne boy. Not only was he a great junior runner before he went over to Loyola, and I have been following him a little bit there on in the results and on social media. But Isaac was a very keen commentator too. I don't know if you realise that, but he commentated quite a few of the Vic Milers and a few other Box Hill meets there, and did a really good job commentating. It was sort of like another Mitch Dwyer kind of character there in the Melbourne scene who didn't mind holding the microphone and calling the races. So he might have a career going back to that any time he wanted to after he finishes the collegiate career. Yeah, so he'll be joining, and I think they sound like they might be a fun team to join. And have you heard much about training territory, like where they train and also how they train, Gavin?
Not fully. I've talked to the boys a little bit about how they train, like where they train, but I haven't. It'll be more, I guess, eye-opening when I get there and see how it's all done.
Yeah. Fair enough, that's good. Now, look, we are Thursday night while we're doing the recording here, and I only found out today that you will be actually flying out to the US tomorrow at 11 a.m., correct?
Yeah. So I just got my visa, my US visa, F1, today from Sydney and my passport. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm flying out tomorrow.
That was a very quick turnaround, and obviously they want you over there ASAP. Now, does that mean that they'll be wanting you to race ASAP, or are they going to take their time with you and see how you go?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Right now, it was a matter of getting me over there ASAP, so that my eligibility was still good. I could get classes done and education. But I'm not too sure on what races they have scheduled for me. Probably going to get me over there and see how I'm training, see how I'm traveling first. No injuries, no niggles, and then see what races are coming up. It's a long track season, and no need to rush things.
So I think they're building up to a crescendo with the highlight races for the indoor season, aren't they? Would it be likely that they'll give you a chance of racing indoors once or twice, or will it be too late to join ranks in the indoor races now?
Well, I definitely hope so. I definitely hope I can race indoor, a couple of races if I can. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I have to see what coach thinks.
Fair enough. Let's just say Gavin said, Ollie, you can actually jump in an indoor race in a week or two. If you got to choose what the event was, what would be the one distance that you would like to line up in at the moment, or like in 1 or 2 weeks if you had that chance?
Oh, it'd have to be a 3K or a 5K. Definitely a 3K because I just feel like I could run a really quick indoor time, and if it's a quick race, I reckon the sub 8 minutes would probably be on. But 5K, definitely doing a 5K in the US would be a pretty good experience and to get your time down.
Be very exciting indeed. Do
Yeah.
Loyola have an indoor track as part of their training facilities?
I'm not too sure. I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Fair enough. Oh, well, you might have to, if you do get the opportunity to race, it might be a debut not only in training but in racing on the boards. So
Yeah.
good luck with that. And I'm sure you'll go well. One way or the other, running's running in the end. And you're very aggressive.
That's the quickest indoor track in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. New Balance meet was unbelievable. The home of New Balance, and Boston, arguably the home of running in America, with the Great Boston Marathon being there too. But you're right, Paul. They tend to have flown on that fairly new Boston track in recent years. So wouldn't it be wonderful if you got the opportunity to race there? They run well in Washington too, don't they, Paul, on that 300-metre oval around there? They run really quick there. And there's other good indoor tracks. Anyway, wait and see, and maybe the doors will open up this season. If not in this winter period right now, then maybe sometime very soon. I did see footage of New York in the last 24 hours, and it was freezing cold, and they had a massive blizzard there. And I'm not sure exactly what night they want to make a mile and that Millrose Games meet is on, but it's any time now. And I have heard that Cam Myers and a few other Australians are going to be lining up there, Cam in the mile and a few other Aussies as well.
Yeah.
That'll be really exciting to watch the elite people going around in that meet. You might be in the air at that point, Ollie, because I think it's very, very soon now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I believe there's a Boston University Terrier and Loyola. I believe the assistant coach Gabby. She's going with a couple of the guys and females to race at Boston. Otherwise, most other guys are running in Notre Dame Invitational again this weekend.
Oh, right. So you have your finger on the pulse. It's just a matter of getting over there, finding your legs, talking to your coach, and then maybe a bit of luck you might get to run on the boards. Otherwise, it'll be a bit of a build-up before you do the outdoor season. I know they do the outdoor season collegiately, like the high school. It's pretty early in really it's a spring thing. And then by the time early summer, they're running nationals, aren't they? But they're running nationals in June, which is right at the, summer officially start till June 21 over there, believe it or not. They have that 3 buffer there where, unlike our winter starts on June 1, their summer doesn't officially start till June 21. And by that time, normally track season's over. So it's quite different to the Southern Hemisphere, particularly the Australian track season and the way we format it. So it won't be that long, and you'll be running in beautiful outdoor meets and hopefully flying around the track and what you're capable of. What colours do Loyola wear again? Can you remember?
Sorry?
What are their team colours? What singlet?
I believe
Short?
it's a bit maroon, a burgundy kind of maroon colour. is the colour of the.
Yeah, very good. Well, that should be nice for you. Yeah, so in the end, like you've got 4 years over there of eligibility, and sometimes they redshirt if they feel like it might be a tactical thing, or they might an athlete might be plateauing and they might think, oh, we'll just train them for a while or give them a bit of a layoff for a while, or different things happen in running, as you know. Sometimes runners go through the 4 years and they might do the 3 seasons indoor, track and cross country, and they'll do that 4 years in a row without a hiccup. But often there'll be like a bit of a layoff there, and they'll do what you call red shirting a season or whatever, or red shirting even a full year.
Yeah.
But obviously, you start with your freshman year or your first full year. What are you hoping to achieve in the first 12 months of your time in Loyola? Have you thought about that? Yeah. And then have you thought about where you'd like to be by the end of the 4 year period? But first of all, what would you like to achieve in the next, throughout 2026?
Yeah, I mean, definitely for me, just racing, purely just racing. The times will obviously come, but of course, within myself, I have goals of sub 14, sub 8 are pretty much the main goals right now. But yeah, just racing it, and then obviously those times will come. I guess over the 4 years, if you stay fit, stay healthy, and stay on top of everything, including the 1%ers, all your gym work and your stretching, band work, and recovery, you're gonna see progression. Hopefully, by the end of the 4 years, unless I redshirt, it could be longer or less. I am running at a high enough level that I'll be competitive at the top levels of Australian and in that circuit. Obviously, trying to make world teams. That's obviously a dream and a goal of mine.
I think Sean, his main goal is to run quicker than me. He should, when he gets back, he should have quicker PBs than me. I think Ollie's definitely in sub 29 shape right now. And
Wow, there you go.
yeah,
Ollie.
honestly, and I don't like to put a pressure on people in my squad, but when I say something, I mean it, and I reckon Ollie's in sub 29 shape.
Well, look, that World Cross Country trial, for one, he's racing guys who are in, sub 28 shape there and keeping up for 7K. And then that big 1500 metre PB of 3:46. What was your PB before that race, Ollie?
I think I've done a
In the
353, but yeah.
Big breakthrough. So combining both ends of the spectrum there, the 1500 metres for your speed and the 10K for the endurance. I think that 14:25 is due to be shaken big time. And like you mentioned, you've got a goal of hoping to go under 14. I think you've got a very good chance of doing that in the not too distant future. So good luck with all that. But like you said, your main goal is just to race. So yeah, generally speaking, you'll only line up and race when you're injury free. So you've got to just keep consistent, keep injury free, and then whatever happens, happens. So good luck to you there. Now, probably just as importantly, what will you be studying there in Loyola?
I'm studying exercise science and kinesiology. So that's pretty much physiotherapy back in Australia.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just different names.
Fantastic. So you would like to be a physio eventually? Is that right?
Yeah, that's a goal. I mean, you got to have a backup, I guess. But yeah, definitely main goal, dream is to be a professional runner and go along that path and career. But yeah, definitely still staying within the sport itself, and always want to be an active person. So yeah, definitely on the physiotherapy line.
Very good. Now, a couple of quick questions before we wrap up, Ollie. What do you think has been the biggest mistake you ever made in your fairly short running career so far?
Finally.
Yeah, I'd say going on holidays, getting sick, it just puts you back so much time, so much training.
Yeah. Was there a holiday kind of recently that you went on that set you back? I think I recall Paul being upset. I don't know whether it was you or one of the other boys. Was it you?
No, it was me. I told Paul about a year in advance or anything that I was going away to Bali. The weekend before I actually left, I ran a PB in the 10K in Sydney 10 and ran just over 30 minutes for 10K. Probably wasn't the best idea. I came back and I had a viral infection. I'd done everything by the books. I trained hard over there, did everything, but it just set me back. And I got a viral infection, and yeah, it didn't help me at all. And pretty much my whole winter season off, every race I did, I just wasn't feeling good.
Fair enough. That might be a word of warning for the younger athletes out there. Don't go to Bali. Anyway, I've only been there once in my life.
Don't go to
Great
Bali.
place.
Stop. Why would you go to Bali if you want to be an elite distance runner? Just
Yeah,
the biggest thing that we worked out, Sean, when Ollie did get sick, and we went and got all these tests done. I said to him, just go for a month, 2 months. He did no sessions. He just ran. He just ran in the bush, put his shoes on. I said, you just run how you feel. And it really helped him. It helped him get over that virus. So for about 2 months, he did no sessions at all. Just jogged around. Stayed fit, did his long run and all that. Still committed to do his long run.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're an elite distance runner or any sport, you don't need to go to Bali. There's no.
Yeah, no, I've never.
Comparable places around the planet, I guess, to Bali as well, where people could choose as a holiday, which wouldn't be ideal for a distance runner. So you're right, Paul. Good advice there. Look, men and women, they learn from their mistakes, Ollie, and you've probably learned from that mistake. And we we all make mistakes in life, but probably no more Bali for you unless you do have a downtime at the end of a huge record-breaking spree season, and you feel like just a week off but you might need to walk around with a face mask or something to avoid those viruses or whatever you might catch over in Bali, or watch what you eat as well.
At one stage, though, Sean, Bali had the world's richest road race, 10K. Remember that?
Yeah, John and Googie, he broke the world 10K record in Adidas shoes that were 3 sizes too big for him, and they weren't super shoes, and I think he ran about 27.40 for 10K. Can you imagine? I'd be wearing size 18, Paul. Imagine me running around in size 18, 3 sizes too big.
I think it was a size 25.
And they were like sand shoes, weren't they, back then?
Yes.
You barely called them. The young people these days wouldn't even know what they were. Anyway, now Ollie, back to you again. Name one thing you changed about a junior running culture in Australia. One thing you change about the culture.
I definitely have to be changing. Everyone's just chasing times in junior careers. They just need to line up. It doesn't matter how good you are as a junior. You just need to get the experience and race. I mean, I didn't have a long or very much of a junior career, but I definitely say nowadays that they're all just chasing times in carbon shoes and on the tracks, whereas they need to actually just race and learn the tactics and how to actually get in that race mentality.
100%. Now, you've both been fountains of knowledge there. It's been wonderful talking to you both. I'd like to give a bit of advice to younger athletes, hopefully who've been listening to Ollie and Paul. You can see that Ollie's persevered after some challenging races and periods. And he stayed loyal to his coach for 2.5 years there. With that loyalty came consistent training. He learnt from his mistakes, which we've heard, like the Bali mistake. Above all, he was patient, because Ollie wasn't a star 18-year-old. He was getting his butt kicked by a lot of really quick 18-year-olds, and now I'll guarantee you that Ollie will be knocking off most of those guys who were beating him by a long way when they were all 18. And now they're around that 20 mark. Ollie's remained patient, he's remained calm. Very importantly, he remained loyal to his coach. He trains mainly on soft surfaces. They do a little bit of road work, and that's great, but mainly on the grass and the dirt and the gravel. He gradually built up his mileage to the point where, he can absorb that mileage and back up for more, because you need to be able to back up. It's one thing doing 150k a week, but you've got to keep rolling them out again and again. So you have to be able to gradually build up so that you can absorb what you're doing. And Ollie can also complete a single tough, arduous session and then back up the following day and still do a fairly decent recovery run. And I know some of those sessions are pretty hard. I talk to Paul a fair bit, and I do follow the Squad Central social media, and some of those workouts on a given afternoon, or sometimes the mornings, are very hard indeed, but Ollie's strong enough to handle them now. Whatever you do, let's say you're 15 or 16 and you hear that Ollie's doing 10 by a K or doing a monofartlek at 3:05 pace or whatever, don't try and emulate that in one workout when you're only running 50k a week or even 80k a week, and you're only quite a novice compared to Ollie, and you might only be running 8:40 or 9 for 3k or 9:20 or whatever it might be. Work with your coach where you are at that point in time. Now, Ollie's improved his racing to the point where he now has the confidence to race some of the best people in Australia. For Ollie to be able to know now, he looked to his left and there was Morgan McDonald, and he looked to his right and there was Seth O'Donnell. And then he heard someone breathing down his neck and he had to peek over his shoulder, and there was Cameron Myers. He knows he's fit now and he's ready to launch as another Australian into the NCAA system. We've had people like Jessica Hull, Lyndon Hall, Oliver Hall, Morgan McDonald, and a whole range of others who've done remarkably well, not only in their collegiate career, but probably even more importantly, once they've returned to Australia or maybe remain in America with a pro team, and they've become among the best runners in the world, right to the point now where Australia are very, very close to, if not even arguably at the top of the world in middle distance running, winning that 4x2K mixed cross-country relay in Tallahassee in Florida only a few weeks ago at the World Cross Country. I mean, how good was that? And look, definitely, you had Kai Robinson there coming from the collegiate system, Jessica Hull coming from the collegiate system, where Ollie's heading, Oliver Hall coming from the collegiate system. And I'm not sure about Jack Anstey. Did he go to the US college? He did as well. Look, all four of them. So I'm not saying it's the only way to go about things. You've got great runners like Stewie McSwain who didn't go. Collis Birmingham, Ben St. Lawrence, they didn't go. Yeah, I'll tell you what, a lot had been going in recent times when you look at the quality coming through at the moment. So you've got to give it a go, don't you, Ollie? You have to have a crack.
Yeah.
Good luck to you there, that's for sure. Yeah. So great to know you're confident, though. Great to know you've been under the wings of a fantastic developmental coach there in Paul Arthur. In closing, thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you for coming on, Paul, and thank you for coming on, Ollie. It's been an absolute honour and a privilege to have you.
That's all right.
So thank you for watching and listening, folks. And don't forget, keep your toes behind the line at the start and always run hard through the finishing line. And what you do in between those two things is up to you. Okay, thank you and goodbye.